Alrighty guys, today we're going to be cutting my boy Dre. He is going to get the same haircut as his father, who I just cut. We're going to be doing a wavelength up top with a high taper on the sides and the back. First step of cutting any black client is mapping out their curl pattern. And what I mean by that is figuring out where their swirl is and then combing all the hair in the direction that it wants to grow. Right here, you can see his swirl starts right here. Ironically, just like his father's, so his haircut is actually going to be really easy for me today. As you can see right here is his swirl, and if you zoom in you can see all of this hair is growing this way, all of this hair is growing forward, all of this hair is growing this way, and then the hair at the bottom of the swirl is growing down. So what I'm going to do is use a wide tooth comb to just kind of comb his pattern out so that we can move on to the first step after head mapping, which is debulking. So for this particular client, we're going to start with a 2-guard. And I'm going to start at his swirl going in the direction that it grows. A lot of you might think, why is he using a 2 if it's wavelength? Because I don't want to take his swirl too low and then make this look thin. So after we get the swirl taken care of and have that debulked, then we switch to the 1.5 guard and go wavelength all the way through his head. So I'll start right here on the side panel, all that hair falling off. As I get closer to his edge up, I'm kind of just coming off the shape of his head rather than putting pressure to it, because if you look at his hairline, he really just has an abnormal hairline. He's got a crazy little swirl here and then a swirl here. He's not receding. That's literally just his growth pattern. So the hair doesn't grow there to begin with. And we're going to tackle that obstacle as the main thing that we're going to be taking care of in this video. So now we're just going to debulk all the way across his head using the 1.5. So like I said, as I get closer to his edge up, specifically in these areas, I will then open up the 1.5 so that it doesn't make it look like he's got a bald spot. The second step of prepping a high taper with waves is to map out the outline of the hair. So what we're going to do is take a trimmer. This is my soft trimmer that's not 0 gap. You want to use a soft trimmer around the neck basically because the skin around this area is a lot more sensitive. I know that he can take the 0 gap trimmer, but for the sake of educational purposes, you should be at least testing the soft trimmer first with every single client, or just asking if they have sensitive skin or any type of skin irritation before moving on forward with this step. So as you can see, right here's his neckline. We're going to prep this up for the taper. And a nice little trick that I like to do is kind of comb the hair up just to see where it actually starts growing. So now that we've identified where his hair point grows, we are going to map it out. The goal is to try and keep this as natural as possible so that he has the least amount of regrowth while waiting for his next haircut. Now we'll move on to the portion right above the ear. I like to use my pointer finger as an anchor point when going around the ear, because then I can easily just turn my wrist over to cover more space. Now we move to the other side, same thing going on here. I'm going to place my finger as the anchor point and then turn my wrist using my middle finger at this point. We're going to close the clipper because making the guideline with your closed clipper actually makes taking the bald line out much easier later on. And I'm going to kind of do this in the shape of an arch, keeping in mind where his occipital bone is, because that is where the top of the fade will be. You want to keep the neck taper below the occipital bone so that it doesn't come up too high and look like a weird half-finished mid-fade or something. Boom. Now that that is cleared out, we'll come in with the 0 gapped trimmer and come just right under that to clear this out all the way down to bald. In this certain scenario, he actually does bump up if I take him down to box shaver. You always need to be asking your clients if they bump up before putting some type of full shaver to their skin. I already know that he does, so we're just going to skip that step completely. Back to the clipper no guard, all the way open. We're going to make our first guideline about 1 inch. I like to use the 3-finger rule. This is about how big your fade should be in any circumstance really, because it makes your guidelines fit perfectly like so. Now we move on to the 1 guard open, and we're going to go against the grain instead of with it, attacking this line right here. Now we jump to the 0 guard. I like to do 1 click closed first, and we're just going to brush all of his hair back down because we just pushed it up coming up against the grain. 0 guard, 1 click closed, and I'm going to use my corners to attack this line that we just created using the 1. And as soon as I stop hearing it cut, I'm going to go another click close, brushing the hair down after every couple of scoops with the clipper so that we maintain a clean cut across that is evenly faded. I just closed another click, by the way, and now we'll go to the other side of the taper and do the same thing. 1 click close and then another click close. Now we'll attack the middle of it. 1 click closed again. Now we take 0 guard off, and remember, we put the bald line in with the clipper all the way closed. closed, and then we put our initial guideline in all the way open. So now we go 1 click close. We're just attacking this last line that's left, and I'm really going to be utilizing the corner of my clipper so that I can get into those small spots that are not consistent with the rest of the fade. Now I'm back open, and as I'm open, I'm just detailing a little bit higher into this fade. The more that I put the corner of the clipper out like this, the higher I can go up into, because the less surface area you have actually cutting the hair. So if you see me going a little bit higher with no guard, just know that I'm using the corner of my clipper. And this is really just going to help me take out these little dark spots that are not blended in all the way with the rest of the fade. And then we'll move on to this side right here. As you can see, these little dark spots, 1 click closed, and now we're into the middle right here. Same thing, very systematic. I do this on every single neck taper. It's the same system on every single neck taper. Boom. Now I'm just going to refine a little bit. You see these scraggly hairs will come in and we'll touch those up, make the fade pop just a little bit more. Same thing on this side. You can see just these little hangover hairs. They make the world of difference. Now we're going to use a little bit of Clubman Pinard. All this does is dry his skin out a little bit, calm any irritation if there is any, remove oil from his skin so hair doesn't stick to him, and also it makes the fade pop just a little bit more. Now we are on the first step of the side taper, panel number 2. We know that up here is a 1.5 closed, so we're just going to run through it again real quick just to make sure. And I'm going with the grain in the direction that his hair grows. So as you can see, all of this hair is growing like that. So we're going to come with the grain just like so. Second step, apply alcohol to the skin. All this does is remove any dirt or oils that has been on his skin and allow us to get a better clean edge up. Now we're using the zero gap trimmer because we are not on his neck anymore. I'm going to go ahead and brush all this hair down, and we're going to identify his vertical bar before we put the bald line in. As you can see right here, it's a little bit thin, so we're going to try and find the one spot that has the most density that we can create the most full vertical line out of. Then we switch to the non-zero gapped clipper, and here's that tip that everyone was saying that I didn't put in the video. On the high tapers, I like to put my bald line above this crease in the ear. All that does is allow me to not have to line it up later, because sometimes it can be a very meticulous task trying to get the bald line out right here on this crease of skin. For whatever reason, I don't know, but we will start right here above that, and then I will drag it to the bottom of his vertical bar right here. Next step, come in with the clipper all the way closed and bump that line up just a little bit using the corner of your blade, because that's what you're going to have to do later on anyway to take the bald line out. And then I'm going to open the clipper all the way, and just like I said, the little 3-finger rule, you see how that all adds up in and ties in now? Boom. So now we are going to make our first guideline. Then we're going to jump to our 1 guard open and make our second guideline. Don't be afraid to come a little bit behind the ear if you have to. This high taper, if we only went up vertical, it wouldn't blend out this way as well. So like I said, the hair is growing down like this. So if you're coming up against the grain, you want to go against the grain that it grows. So I'm setting my guideline with the 1, just like so, coming across the growth pattern. And then I'll brush his hair down just a little bit like so. And then we'll open the 1 guard up, and then we'll come with the grain to try and soften this line a little bit. What's the next step? Right, and you guessed it, the 0 guard, 1 click close. We're going to start attacking this line now with the corner of the blade, and as soon as I stop hearing it cut, I close it 1 more click, and then another click. Then we're going to brush all the hair down because you guessed it, we pushed it all up coming against the grain. Now we are on no guard, 1 click close, and we're going to be attacking these specific dark spots, because if you look across, the only inconsistencies in the fade is this spot right here, this spot right here, and this spot right here. So if we can clean those up, then the fade should tie in all together. And another click closed. And just remember guys, this is just a rough draft. We're trying to run through the system as quickly as we can, and then we will refine the fade after that is done. There's multiple steps to this. So boom, the fade's pretty much done right here, right? Now we're going to switch to the next side and then come and refine it later. All right, so this is now in real time. We're going to run through do the same exact process that we just did on the other side of his taper so you can kind of get a feel for what the process of this looks like in real time. Crazy trimmer trick. This bald line sometimes is a little tricky, so you can do the same thing with the trimmer using the corner right here specifically is where I'm going to be attacking, and we'll refine a little bit right here. And now you don't have to fade that little annoying spot. The debulking down, for the most part, the back taper, both the side panels have been ran through the first fade zone. Now we are going to prep his edge up. So what I mean by this is he has an irregular edge up. This can be a problem for a lot of beginner barbers because they don't even know where to start. So we're going to touch this up a little bit more with the 1.5. So since he has wavy hair, the best way to attack his edge up is Barbasol. This stuff's the GOAT, man. A lot of you people don't know, but I'm gonna put you on right now. So what this does essentially is just dry out his skin, which is how you get that really smooth ash line on curly haired clients anyhow. And it also separates you from the barbers that are not willing to do the mode. Yes, you have to be a try-hard if you want to make a lot of money. That's something you're just gonna have to get used to. So I'm going to thoroughly apply this, making sure that it's on his edge up, pushing all of this hair forward, because it's going to help us not push his hairline back because it's irregular. Boom. Hot towel. Woo, you see the steam. All right, buddy, it's gonna be a little hot. I haven't done this to you before. This is for the grown men. Maybe I'm just that good. You like that, huh? It's gotta be, brother. So what we're doing is just locking his curls in. It ain't that hot, Dre. Come on. See, he's loving it. I'm just gonna keep this here for 15, 20, 30 seconds. Really just whenever this towel stops getting kind of hot to the touch. And I'm pressing down with a little bit of pressure as well, just making sure that all of his hair follicles are absorbing this Barbasol as well as his skin. And boom. As you can see, that alone got a lot of his hair to lay down and kind of fill out his hairline a little bit, which is what we were wanting. You okay, buddy? Blow your face off some. Next, we will get some got to be glued hairspray, and we are just going to lightly spritz this across his edge up. And then we will apply heat and brush it down. Now we get to the fun part. Just from those couple simple steps, you can see it's just laid down. It looks a lot easier to tame. And now we will just identify the spot where his hair is least dense. And what I mean by that is really dense, super dark, a lot of hair follicles. Not as dense, not as dark, not as many hair follicles. So we will start right here in the middle, and we will try to create the most full line that we can out of this area. Look this way a little bit, right there. Boom. And I'm just going to tap and long drag it down. Boom. And then I'm going to work my way all the way out this way, come back to the center, and then work my way all the way out that way. The reason that we prepped these vertical bars first is because it kind of helps get us a foundation of where the end of his hairline is. So now we'll do that. Now you see one side is done and the other side is not. So we're going to come back to the middle and work our way out down to the left. Turn this way a little bit, Dre. And once I get to the corner, I'm not going to try and dig into this little area right there. Instead, I'm going to brush all this hair down on the side, and then we will come at it and try to meet that corner with our blade coming this way. Right here, you can see he's got a couple of hairs that are just straying up, and it's kind of taking away from that uniform rounded shape that we're really wanting. So, real quick and easy fix. I know this looks like I'm doing some crazy stuff, but I'm literally just placing the scissors on top of his head lightly. I'm not pushing down a lot of force. I'm just letting the fluff of his hair kind of hold the scissors up, and I'm just doing little snips like this. It's a lot safer than using the clipper and trying to freehand it. Now we're going to put a little bit of Cantu curl activator on him because he wants waves. Doesn't take a whole lot, just a little bit. Rub it in real good, apply it real good. Yeah, you guessed it. We're going to brush it in. You should be doing this for your clients because a lot of people don't even know the types of products that they need to have in their hair, and you as a barber should be educated on these types of things. This is the stuff that gets people to tip you so much, man, because I'm going literally above and beyond for my client. You go into a shop that's charging 40 bucks for a cut, they're not going to be doing this to their clients. I'm just brushing all this in so it evenly gets distributed throughout all his hair, all over his head. And now we move into the enhancements tintation Tomb 45 card. We're going to start in the middle where his hair is the lightest, right across it, and then hold this far away and spray at a 45-degree angle. I'll put it right here above this as well. That's what it's for. And then tilt your head some, Dre. Boom. Now the razor blade. What kind of barber would I be if I didn't put this on this young man? Alrighty, let's put this razor on this young man. I'm going to pull his skin so there's some tension and no pull. All this is doing is literally just refining that line even more so. And yes, even right here, it is necessary to put the razor. Don't be lazy. Now my boy's back in action. That's how you do a $100 haircut. You ready, my man?
Yep.
Check it out.
Oh my gosh, this is the best haircut I ever had.
Give him a thumbs up.
Preston.
Yeah.